It's a lovely evening, Carl.
It most certainly is. And welcome to another garden chat.
Absolutely.
I quite like these garden chats.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, this afternoon was very good, wasn't it?
Oh, it was warm.
Yeah, and tomorrow
Very
apparently
warm.
is going to be 26 degrees, I believe.
In fact, I'm quite warm now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think I need a sherry.
And a bit of cake.
And a bit of cake.
Yeah, I've got a thought for you. How many footpaths do you think there are around Abergele?
I know there's one up here, because I've seen you up there when I've been walking Jamie the doggy, when you've been putting gravel down.
Oh yeah, no, footpath 7, yeah.
Yeah, footpath 7. I know there's one down at the bottom, up into the woods.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would think there's about 5 or 6.
Well, there is in fact 32 rights of way.
Well, I never knew that.
Yeah, and that's just in Abergele.
That is amazing.
In Conway, I believe they've got nearly 17,000 kilometres of footpath in Conway.
Now, would it be true if I said that if these footpaths aren't used, they revert back to non-footpaths?
Rights of way, no.
No, oh.
It takes an act of parliament to revert them.
Oh.
The only thing local authorities can do, as I understand it, is they can close it whilst it's brought back online, or they find an alternative route. And in actual fact, that's a very good intro to the fact that Conway run a rural, on their website there's a rural aspect to it, and they have the definitive map. We'll put the link in at the bottom of this video.
Good, yeah.
But they have a definitive map, which they're legally required to maintain. And on it, it shows all the maps, all the footpaths in Conway.
Wow.
And all the ones belonging to Abergele start with 01// and then the number of the footpath. So it literally goes from 01//01. What we can do is we can go and have a look at footpath 24.
Yes, where's that one?
Well, footpath 24 runs from opposite the entrance to what used to be Tanner Bryn, but is now Gainsborough Park. Yeah, and it goes down to all the way across to the Rhuddlan Roundabout under the A55. Some people call it the McDonald's Roundabout, others call it the Threeways Roundabout.
Oh yes, I know where. Yeah, I know where that is.
So we could actually go down there, and we could have a walk down there, because there's a couple of interesting things on the footpath that somebody that's quite well known in the town, and a friend of mine, which is Malcolm Medlicott. Him and I used to walk around the footpaths a few years ago, and we always used to cut back anything that was sticking out, overhanging. And as you rightly pointed out, we completely restored footpath number 7, which is just over the back here.
That's right, yeah.
Because that completely overgrown was lost. And when we dug down, we were amazed to find out actually how wide it was. And with help from Andrew Woods, we managed to clear everything down. And he managed to get hold of some gravel to re-gravel the path.
That's I seen you wheeling it up in a wheelbarrow.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I think it nearly did me in.
Yeah. But now, this path we're going to walk today, it is a gentle walk, isn't it?
It is.
It's not uphill or anything?
No, it's a very gentle walk. It's probably one of the easiest walks in Abergele, to be honest. But it's also very rural and very nice. Now, a lot of the locals refer to it as Gypsy Way. I've heard other people call it Roman Way, but it isn't. At the end of the day, on any of these footpaths, if you find any problems with them, you need to report them to ERF, which is Environmental Road Facilities.
Yeah.
And what you need to be able to quote is the path number. It's no good saying, oh, it's the path up in the woods that goes up to Tower Hill. You need to say it's footpath 30 or it's footpath 24, etc. Yeah.
So shall we go down and have a look at this?
One thing I'm going to say, I am not up to walking all 32 to show all these lovely people out there.
Well, I think that's disgraceful. I think you should.
Well, go for it, my man. Go for it. Shall we go anyway and have a look?
We'll go and have a look at this one at
footpath 24 on St George Road.
Yeah, footpath 24. We're going to have a walk of that, shall we?
Yeah.
Right.
Come on then,
Let's go then.
Right, we're coming along to footpath 24, and you won't see Carl because Carl is behind the camera. Okay, so here we are at footpath 24, which is directly opposite the gates to Park Gainsborough, and we're going to go into footpath 24. As you can see, it's completely overgrown in the summer. Lovely green leafy footpath. In the summer months, the footpath isn't too bad. It's quite dry, but when there's been a lot of rain, there's sections of the footpath can actually get very wet, and we'll show you this as we progress down the footpath. As I say, at the moment it's quite dry, but in the winter and when there's been a lot of rain, then you need to think about your footwear, and I strongly recommend a pair of wellies. So as you can see, this is very picturesque. When I walk down these footpaths, I quite often wonder how many people have walked down it and how long ago, you know, how do they do it? Did they sort of perambulate in all their refinery as they came down the footpath? Or was it a little bit more rugged than that? But this evening, with the sunlight dappling through the trees, it's really, really pleasant, isn't it? It's quite warm. Ah, right. Right here is the first of the bridges, okay? The reason we've got a bridge is there's a culvert that runs along the side of the footpath. Sometimes it's on the left, sometimes it's on the right. And further down, you'll find out it runs right down the middle of the footpath. But they have these little bridges, if you like, okay? So let's carry on. Right, as I walk down here, I told you about the culverts down the side. There's rocks against that, and I'll tell you a bit more about the rocks further down. But we're coming into an area now which is almost like a tunnel. Right, this area is a little bit more covered over, and it also gets wetter than most. But I mentioned about these rocks down the side. These rocks here were placed here apparently from the demolition of Peel Street, and it was Malcolm Medlicott that told me about it. So these rocks were part of the demolition of Peel Street back in the 70s. So they lined this culvert all the way down here on both sides, and it goes all the length of the footpath 24. Now this particular area gets really quite wet, and you get quite a lot of water, and this brings us up to our second bridge on the footpath, which again is just crossing the culvert. Right, this, as I said, this section here is a bit overgrown, and it really needs to be cut to make it raise the roof of, if you like, raise the roof of it up. Now, as I say, when it rains, this section here does get very, very wet. So you need to make sure you're properly dressed and you've got the right footwear on. As we come here, it's going to open up a bit, but the footpath at this point turns into a river. Here's a prime example of where the culvert has overspilled and the footpath itself has now become what is basically a stream. And it comes all the way down, all the way down, all the way through here. And this is where the footpath now widens up, and it gets much brighter, though the sun seems to have disappeared. But there you go. That's the weather today. Yeah, the footpath here is in much better condition. and it's again once very pleasant. We can't be too far now from the Rhuddlan Roundabout. Right, as we come down this path, we come to yet another bridge. The culvert here is on the left-hand side. We cross over the bridge, and the culvert switches across to the right-hand side. Here we've got all the rocks that I talked about earlier lining the side of the culvert. This is where it gets a little bit muddy, and today's quite dry, but it's still quite wet. I think I should have put my welly boots on, but there you go. As you can see, it's gone very dark, and it's because we're completely covered over it at this point, but it is quite wide. You can see the culvert again on the right hand side. Right, one of the things you could do is, if you carry a set of secateurs with you, you have these little bits sticking out like that that can catch your head. If you're walking along with your secateurs, just nip them off. It helps to keep the path open. Right, we're coming up to what is basically the last bridge. Now, you can see that the path has gone this way, but trust me, in the winter you will have to go this way and step over the bridge. The reason people are going round it is because it's all overgrown. It needs somebody with a set of secateurs to lop it back. But this is the particularly nice part of the footpath, because it opens right out and the culvert's running down that side there, but it's beautifully overhung with the tree branches and that. They're very high, so it's a lovely section, this, and on a nice sunny day it's really nice the way the light dapples through it, but unfortunately today the sun's gone away. I can feel that we're getting a little bit closer to the Rhuddlan Roundabout because the level of noise from the A55 is picking up. This is still a nice road, a nice footpath to walk along. It's very rural, right on the edge of Abergele. And it's quite dry underfoot as well at the moment. The gate is in view. I'm almost at journey's end. Right, somebody's left the gate open. I'll shut that behind me. When out in the country, make sure you shut the gates. Country code, you know. over this side here is where the culvert disappears under the roundabout. Anyway, that's the end of footpath 24, or the start, depending which end you go from. And I hope you all stay safe, and until the next time, goodbye.